Are you in business or busyness? Welcome to Standing on Business with Dr. Melissa, the Purpose Profitess. This is a bold, unfiltered journey for entrepreneurs, visionaries, and purpose-driven go-getters who are ready to stop performing and start becoming. Each week, I take you beyond the hustle and into the heart with soul-stirring truths, powerful strategies, and real conversations that uncover what it means to be the CEO of your own life. So, if you're done chasing paper and ready to activate purpose, tune in, tap in, and take your place at the table. This is Standing on Business, and this time, it's personal. Well, hello there, soulmates. It's your girl, Dr. Melissa, back with another soul-stirring episode of Standing on Business, where it's not just business, it's personal. So, today, as you guys know, I've been really spending a lot of time drilling down on this whole concept of identity. And it's really been my sole focus for our time together to really make the case that we might be seeking purpose and we're seeking meaning in our lives and we're seeking impact and influence and all of that. But it's impossible to do all of those things without embracing and walking in our identity. Because if you remember, I've said this before, you can only have the thing that you're supposed to have if you show up as the person that it belongs to. So in unpacking this and trying to really drill down with what is it that stops us from walking in our identity and to embracing our identity. And you might think, I talk to a lot of people and it almost seems like people are afraid to show up and be seen. Like there's this propensity to hide, to be hidden, to be behind the curtain. And I know that for many, 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 many years, I would have been guilty of doing that. I was like the Wizard of Oz. I was behind the curtains. I was pulling all of the gears and the levers and the strings and making all of the things happen. And I was very happy with being hidden. And I was okay with somebody else standing on the stage and mouthing the song while I actually sang in the background, right? But here's what I've come to realize for myself and maybe for some of you. It wasn't that I was afraid to be seen. I don't believe most people are afraid of being seen. Like, just think about that for a minute. Afraid of being seen? Like you see me now. So what is it about showing up as yourself that causes us to have hesitation? I don't think it's a fear of being seen. I think we're afraid of being misunderstood. I think we are fearful of being judged. I think we're afraid of being questioned. I think we're afraid of having to explain the choices that we have made that feels aligned to us, but may not be palatable or acceptable to others. So because of that fear, we edit ourselves. We soften our edges and our truths. We overexplain. And when we do that, visibility then starts to feel like a performance because we haven't shown up as ourselves. We've shown up as this me 2.0 or me light, me junior. Like it's not fully ourselves. It's a version, but it's not a complete version. So being seen starts to feel uncomfortable because we're doing so many edits and we're muting here and softening there that it's a watered down version of who I'm supposed to be. So if any of that landed with you, if you've ever felt the urge to justify yourself, to justify your growth, your healing, your happiness, then my love, this discussion is for you. Because today I'm going to be unpacking 3 ways to show up as yourself and walk in your truth without explaining yourself. This is getting ready to be good. So here's what I'm going to tell you before we jump in. As you listen, I want you to notice where you might feel pressure to explain. Like as I'm going through this, I want you to be letting it land. I want you to absorb it, sit with it. And I want you to notice in your own life where you felt the pressure to explain. And if anything resonates with you, I want you to let me know in the comments. Okay? All right. For me, because as I said, most of the things that I talk to you guys about are lived experiences for me. This is, I have the receipts. These are not things that I've read about. These are not things that I've heard about. These are things that I have lived through. And so I will tell you that after my late husband passed, I entered a season that I didn't expect. It's crazy. I had spent years being private. Most of my life, to be honest with you. I had spent years being contained, years being careful. And so when life began to open back up for me, I've navigated through this grief and this combination of grief and gratitude, pain and peace, all of these things. When I started to get on the other side of that, when joy returned and connection returned, and eventually love found me, I felt this unfamiliar pressure, right? I'd been so used to being private that I wasn't quite prepared for the pressure of visibility. And let me tell you, people had opinions. Some of those opinions were spoken outright. Some people were bold enough to just flat out let me know what they felt about my decision to heal, my decision to have joy, my decision to connect, my decision to love. Some people were bold enough to say it. Most people, it was quietly implied, politely implied. It was this undercurrent of, oh my goodness, is it too soon? Is it appropriate? Did you grieve long enough? All of these questions and all of these opinions. And I can remember asking myself, like, hey, do I need to explain this? Like, do I need to help people understand my decisions? I can remember wanting to tell the whole story, like to fill in the missing pieces, because people had pieces of a narrative that I can tell you 99.9% of it was just fictional. It wasn't even rooted in reality. Because here's the thing, when people don't know a story, they make up a story. And I don't think it's out of maliciousness, because I think our minds are natural storytellers. Like, take anything. For instance, I'll give you an example. If you were on your job and working at your desk and your boss came in, and I mean the big boss came in and said, before the end of the day, I need to see you in my office, and walked away. What are you feeling? Wait a minute. What? Our brains, our minds have a need to make sense of things. And so what our brains would naturally do is start writing a story about why the big boss needs to see us. We might go back to, last week. I was 10 minutes late last week. You know what? I bet it's the new girl because we start writing a story. Now, truthfully, y'all, I don't want to get off on a soapbox. 99.9% of the time, the story that we write is not positive. Very few of us would say, ooh, I bet he's going to give me a raise. He's going to tell me how fabulous I am, how I have turned this whole department around, how they cannot run this show without me, and he's going to give me a big raise or promotion. Most of us don't go there. Most of us would defer to something is wrong. So when I say that people made up stories, I'm certainly not trying to say that it was out of maliciousness, although some of it may have been. I think when people don't know, they make sense of fragments or pieces of what they see or observe. So I wanted to tell my story. I wanted to justify my healing. I wanted to prove my integrity. I wanted to explain the depth of my grief so that people would understand the right for my joy. And some of you may understand exactly what I'm talking about because you may find yourself in that space right now. You know, that space where you can't even really be fully happy or fully in peace or fully enjoy surviving because you have this need to make sure everybody understands that I really did suffer. And if they only knew how much I suffered, and if they only really knew the story, they would be happy that I'm on the other side. But I'll tell you that I realized something pivotal. The people who needed an explanation from me weren't even the people that were walking with me. You know, it's the peanut gallery that we feel like we need to explain to. The people that were walking alongside me, the people that had walked through the fire with me, did not need an explanation. They fully understood. It was the people that didn't know, that felt like they were entitled to an explanation. But here's where I came to set you free today. Being seen, visibility, walking in your own truth doesn't require a defense. And soulmates, the truth is, some of you are exhausting yourselves, trying to make your life make sense to people who were never meant to interpret it in the first place. So let's talk about the first way to be visible, to walk in your truth without explaining. And the first way to do that is you start to trust alignment more than approval. Let me reiterate that. The first way to start showing up without feeling this need to explain yourself is that you start to trust in your alignment more than the need for approval. You see, when you are in alignment, your life, your choices, your decisions, they don't need a press release. Peace is the evidence. Consistency is the evidence. Integrity is the evidence. There was nothing to prove. A mentor of mine says it this way: I have nothing to defend. I have nothing to protect. I have nothing to prove. You see, what I realized was that I didn't need to explain my healing. I just needed to honor it. I needed to be grateful that I had reached this place of healing. And it was okay if some people understood it. Some would, some won't, right? And some of you that are listening to me now, you are still rehearsing explanations for choices that you've already made. But soulmates, alignment doesn't need to argue. It just stands on what it is. There's no need to argue. Alignment is authority. And I don't need to negotiate or to compromise my authority. Let me tell you, when you talk about a king or a queen, here's what I love about them. They're not voted in. They don't need the majority vote. They are who they are by virtue of birthright. You can't vote them in and you can't vote them out. And it's the same way with your alignment. It's not up for a vote. It's not about backed by popular demand. You get the right to stand in your truth and walk in your truth without consensus. Okay? So that leads me to number 2. The second way to show up and be seen without explaining yourself is you release the belief that being misunderstood is dangerous. We oftentimes believe that the greatest tragedy in the world is to be misunderstood. Oh my gosh, they might misunderstand me. And that's a limiting belief because the truth is you will be misunderstood. Why? Not everyone has the capacity to understand your growth. They're not supposed to. Like we think being misunderstood is a bad thing. Understanding something about you, your decisions, would require somebody to have the capacity, the proximity, the calling to be able to make sense of what you're told to do, your obedience. And why would another person, why would everybody in the world have that capacity? They wouldn't. And then the truth is, some people only know the version of you that fits their expectations. So when you evolve, confusion is inevitable. That doesn't make your evolution wrong. It doesn't make them wrong. You've just simply become a version that they can't understand. Hence, can't understand, misunderstood. The two things go together. So, being misunderstood is not the worst thing in the world to happen. It is inevitable that you will be misunderstood. I'm going to tell you that this is really many of the clients that I work with. This is a tension that I help them navigate. That tension of learning how to stay grounded when your growth outpaces the comfort of others. We struggle with that because we're called to this growth. We're called to this new season, to do this new thing. And we want consensus. We want buy-in. We want celebration. We want everybody to get it. Hey, I'm growing and this is a good thing. And we want them to go, oh yeah, I see it. And the truth of the matter is you don't need consensus to be correct. You don't need consensus to be called. Okay? Number 3. Let's talk about the third way to be seen without explaining yourself. And that is you stop performing. You reach this point where you don't need to narrate your growth. You reach this place where you realize that you don't need to convince anyone. Your life will speak for you. My grandmother had a song back when I was young, and it said, "May the work I've done speak for me." See, your life is going to speak for you. Your peace will speak for you. Your boundaries will start to speak for you. Your joy will speak for you. And when you understand that you don't need to narrate the journey. Hey, listen, I really have grown. Listen, this really is a good move for me. Listen, I really did love. Listen, I really don't think I'm better than. Listen, I really do still love you. I still want to, like when you get past the point of feeling like you need to get this consensus, you need to constantly narrate your life. And you start to understand that, guess what? The receipts will show. Am I a good person? My life will speak of that. My peace will speak of that. My joy will speak of that. My service will speak of that. I don't need to prove it to anyone. I don't need to convince anyone. Therefore, I don't need to perform. I talked about grief a little while ago. And oftentimes, when I talked about the concept of grief and gratitude going together, the tension there is that sometimes we feel like we need to prove to people that we're grieving. Oh, did I cry enough? Oh, I didn't cry enough. Oh, my goodness, I went out shopping. Oh, I went out to lunch and I actually laughed. And if I do that, somebody will think that I really didn't struggle. They'll think I'm really not hurt. They'll think that it didn't really matter. And so then we start trying to perform these emotions based on how we think people see us and how they need us to be. And I'm telling you, that reeks of not just performance, but it's a contradiction to authenticity. Because now I'm playing something out. I really do feel it. But I feel like I need to do the most or really lean in or really look so that you will say, oh yeah, ooh, child, I saw her. Ooh, yeah, she really did. Ooh, she was really in love. That divorce really did something to her because I saw her and honey, she looked a mess. As opposed to, well, I know she got divorced and she said she was sad about it, but I actually saw her out shopping and I mean, she was looking amazing and smiling. And you see what I mean? We're trying to play on the stages of other people's opinions. Here's the thing. If you're navigating visibility after loss, after healing, after transition, I want you to know that there's support for you. I want you to know that there is support to help you stand in your truth without apology. You'll hear me say this 1,001 times, unapologetically. Because this is the work that I do with people every day. I need you to understand that you don't need a script. You don't need to play out a role or performance for anybody. You get to stand in your own truth, true to you, authentic to you. And no one else has editorial rights or directorship. Move this way. Nobody else is directing your scene, nor should they have the right to. For me, as I told you, I struggled with this for a lot of years in my life. But one day, I made a decision. And this is what I'm inviting you to do. This won't happen just magically. We have to make a decision. I made a decision to stop explaining. So that means I would catch myself. I would be about to say, and I would stop myself. And this really started with me with the word no. So generally, if someone asked me to do something and I didn't want to do it or couldn't do it, I would say no, because actually I have to do such and such, and I would do it, but da, 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 and da, 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 da. And what would happen most of the time when you give all of these long, drawn out explanations, people who need something from you are listening to your explanations to find the loopholes. Well, no, I can't do it because actually I've got a meeting at 4 o'clock and then I have to start dinner at 6. Well, you know what? You could actually do it at 4. I can move the time up. So they've listened to your explanation and found the loopholes. And that's what people do. People that don't want to believe your explanation, it doesn't matter how many explanations you give. They're listening to find the holes in it. They're listening to the explanation to rebut, as opposed to those people that already understand and know you. You don't even need to explain. So I made this decision that I would not continue to explain myself. And you guys, it was a process. I would stop myself mid-sentence. I would be getting ready to explain and I would just stop. And I'm sure people thought, is she okay? Because I would be, you okay? I am. No. And they would wait and I would look. And they would look at me and they would lean in and I would lean in too. And I would smile. Because no is a complete sentence. And I stopped adding all of the explanations after that. And then I was able to apply that to my entire life. so that when I made choices for my life and people made commentary or thought I needed to explain, I didn't. Not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. And I'll tell you, the freedom that came with that decision has been profound because it helped me to stop shrinking to make other people comfortable. So here's my questions for you. No, I think I'm just going to leave you with one question. I'm going to give you one powerful question that I want you to sit with, marinate with, and really process this. Where are you still explaining yourself to people who are no longer meant to interpret your life? Go through the Rolodex of your life. And where are you explaining yourself, your choices, your decisions, your joy, your peace, your posture, your position? Where are you explaining to people who are no longer meant to interpret your life? I want you to sit with that. And while you sit with that, here's my mantra for you for today. I don't owe an explanation because I am seeking alignment, not approval. Let me say that again. I don't owe an explanation because I am seeking alignment and not approval. And so, if this episode, this discussion has resonated with you at all, please leave me a comment. I love reading the comments that you guys leave me. It blesses me. And so please leave me a comment and let me know what you are releasing. And also, if you don't want to leave a public comment, do like some of you do, DM me. DM me if you just want to tell me what landed with you. And you can also DM me if you want support navigating visibility with integrity. Now, as we round out this time, here's what I want you to remember. For those who are aligned with you, no explanation is needed. And for those who are not, no explanation will ever be enough. For those who are aligned with you, no explanation is needed. But for those who are not, no explanation you give will ever be enough. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in to Standing on Business with Dr. Melissa. I hope today's discussion has ignited a fire within you to embrace your authenticity, prioritize your purpose, and become the CEO of your own life. And I want you to remember, you don't have to walk this out alone because I have built a space for women and a few good men just like you. Women who are ready to move in faith while they're still figuring it out. And that space is called Women with Purpose, Power, and Profits. This is my free Facebook community where you're going to find strategy and encouragement. It is a place where women come to be sharpened, supported, and seen. Inside, we talk about purpose, and we talk about profits, and we talk about power, not as buzzwords, but as a blueprint. So, search Women with Purpose, Power, and Profits on Facebook, or you can use the link that will be in the show notes. I cannot wait to see and support you there. So, if you want more information about me, y'all go on and visit my website, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and follow me on all of my socials. So until next time, join me as we will dive deeper into the strategies and mindset shifts that you need to build a purpose-driven life. Remember that you are purposeful. And sis, my brother, you are powerful. I believe in you, and I cannot wait to see and hear about the incredible things that you will achieve. So until next time, my soulmates, keep standing up, keep standing out. Hey, y'all, keep standing on business. Bye for now.